We all like to think of ourselves as these independent thinkers, right? Like we're the captains of our own ship, making all these rational choices based on reality. But what if I told you that deep inside your brain, there's this powerful, ancient program running, a safety protocol so intense that it can make you ignore your own eyes, your own logic, your own truth, all for one single reason: to fit in. Look, this isn't just some nice-sounding phrase. This is straight-up neuroscience. This drive to conform, it's not a personality flaw, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a biological command, a survival tool that's been coded into our DNA for hundreds of thousands of years. And really, understanding how this thing works, that's the first step to getting back in the driver's seat.
Oh, you totally know this feeling, right? Your boss throws out a new idea, and inside, every single alarm bell you have is just screaming, "No! This is a terrible idea." You can see the flaws. You can practically picture the train wreck coming. But then you look around the room, and what do you see? Heads, just nodding, one after another. And then it's almost like it's not even you doing it. Your own head starts to move. You crack a little smile, you nod along, and you say nothing. So what in the world just happened? See, you didn't just decide to be quiet. You were neurologically hijacked.
Okay, to really get what happened in that meeting room, we've got to go back. I mean, way, way back. We need to understand this fundamental choice your brain is making hundreds of times a day, usually without you even realizing it. It's a choice between being right and being safe. This slide right here, it gets to the very core of who we are. For our ancestors out on the savannah, being right didn't mean a thing if you were alone. Think about it. If the whole tribe decides to go west and your brilliant, correct analysis tells you to go east, well, you're probably not going to make it through the night. See, getting kicked out of the group wasn't a social bummer. It was a death sentence. And your brain evolved in that world. It learned one lesson above all else. Staying with the tribe means survival. So it developed this powerful default setting. It's better to be wrong and safe with the group than to be right and all alone. So let's put a name to this whole thing. That knot you get in your stomach, that feeling like your own voice is stuck in your throat while you're nodding along, that's what it feels like to fall into the silent consent trap. It's the sensation of your ancient survival brain grabbing the controls from your modern rational mind. A neural hijack. That is exactly what it is. This isn't a choice, not in the way we usually think about it. It's a lightning-fast subcortical reaction to a threat. And the threat isn't a lion anymore. It's the cold looks from your coworkers. It's the risk of getting labeled difficult or, not a team player. But your brain, it can't tell the difference. To its ancient wiring, social exile feels exactly the same as being left behind for the predators. And this right here perfectly sums up the problem, doesn't it? We live in a world that supposedly values innovation, disruption, and independent thinking. We're always told to think outside the box. The issue is we're running that modern software on some seriously ancient hardware. Hardware that was built for one thing: tribal survival, where thinking outside the tribe's box was the quickest way to get yourself killed. And this mismatch is the source of so much stress and anxiety for us in our jobs and social life. So why does it feel so awful to disagree? The sweaty palms, the racing heart, why is it so visceral? It's because the pain of being different, well, it isn't a metaphor. It is a real, measurable, neurological thing. Your brain literally processes social disagreement as if it were a physical injury. Let's really break this down because this is the absolute key to everything. So when you make a big, embarrassing mistake, a part of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC, fires off this huge error signal. It's like a blaring siren in your head screaming, "Whoa, something's wrong, fix it." Then, separately, when you feel physical pain, like you get punched or touch a hot stove, another part, the insula, lights up. Okay, but here's the part that is just mind-blowing. Neuroscientists found that when you're the only person in a group who disagrees, when you stand against everyone else, both of those regions activate at the exact same time. Your brain is telling you simultaneously that you're making a catastrophic error and that you're in physical pain. Think about that. Disagreeing with your team feels to your brain like making a massive mistake while getting punched in the gut. Is it any surprise we try to avoid that feeling? So, this intense pain signal kicks off a very predictable 4-step process. You can almost think of it like a software loop that just runs in your brain. It's not random at all. It's a biological error correction program designed to fix this painful feeling of being different as fast as it possibly can. We call it the social error correction loop. Let's walk through how this whole hijack plays out. So, step 1, consensus surge. The group's opinion is suddenly crystal clear. Everybody's nodding. Step 2, conflict detection. Your brain says no, but the group says yes. Boom, conflict detected. Your ACC fires that painful error signal we just talked about. Now, step 3, this is the wildest and honestly the most terrifying part, the perceptual shift. To stop the pain, your brain doesn't just decide to lie. It literally starts to change what you see and hear. In those famous 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢𝐚𝐭 conformity experiments, people were shown lines of different lengths. When a bunch of actors all gave the same, obviously wrong answer about which line was longest, the subject would often agree with them. But here's the kicker. Brain scans showed they weren't just lying to fit in. Their brain had actually started to perceive the wrong line as the right one. It changed reality to solve the social problem. And finally, step 4, the compliance release. The second you agree, the second you nod your head, your brain's reward system floods you with dopamine. The pain vanishes. You feel this incredible wave of relief. The error is gone. You're safe again. You're back in the tribe.
And here's what's so important to understand. Every single time you let that loop finish, you're making that neural pathway stronger. You are biologically training yourself to silence your own point of view. You're literally training yourself to be a ghost in the room, trading your integrity for a quick hit of relief.
But there is a way to break this loop. And it all starts with understanding the incredible power of just one ally. This number you see here, 80%, that's how much that painful error signal in your brain drops the moment you find out you're not alone, the moment just one other person agrees with you. And that brings us to the most important part of all of this. We've figured out the problem, we've seen the brain science behind it, so now what? How do we actually fix it? How do we go from this knee-jerk biological reaction to making a real, deliberate choice? Well, it is possible, but you're gonna need some tools. So let's start with the most powerful tool there is, the ally effect. Just look at this chart. It really shows you that 80% drop. When you're the only one dissenting, that social pain is cranked up to 100%. Your brain is just screaming at you. But the second one other person says, you know what? I actually see it that way too. That pain signal just plummets. Your brain recalibrates, the error signal gets way quieter, because the conflict is no longer me against the world, it's now us versus them. So your job isn't to start a revolution by yourself. Often, your first job is just to find one other person who sees what you see. Now, besides finding an ally, here are 3 really powerful strategies you can use. First up, the 10-second truth delay. When you feel that pressure, that wave of social pain washing over you, just don't say anything. Wait, breathe, count to 10. That initial chemical surge will peak and start to fade. And that little pause is often all your rational mind needs to come back online and say, hey, this isn't actually a life or death situation. Second, devil's advocacy scripting. This is huge if you're a leader. You make disagreement a formal part of the rules. You assign someone the role of devil's advocate for every big decision. By making it a rule, you take away the social risk. It's not a personal attack anymore. It's just someone doing their job. And finally, practice value anchoring. Before you go into that big meeting, physically write down your perspective, your truth. This piece of paper acts like an anchor for your brain. When that perceptual shift starts happening and your mind starts trying to bend reality to fit in, you can look down at that paper. It's a hard asset, a reminder that the facts haven't changed, even if the social pressure has.
So where does all of this leave us? We've seen that conformity isn't really a choice so much as it is a biological reflex. It's a deep, deep safety protocol built to protect us from that ancient terror of being cast out.
This is it. This is the fundamental trade-off that's happening at the heart of our social lives. This biological bias is the invisible force in every single meeting, every family dinner, every group project you will ever be a part of. It is the default setting. But a default setting is not your destiny. And that's really the whole point. The goal isn't to get rid of this feeling. I mean, that hunger to belong is part of being human. The goal is to see it when it shows up, to recognize the silent consent trap for what it is, just a biological echo from a world that doesn't exist anymore. Real agency, real leadership, and real integrity, they all begin in that moment when you feel that pull to conform, and instead of just obeying, you learn to navigate it with intention.
In the end, changing things doesn't require a whole movement. It doesn't require convincing everyone all at once. So often, progress and truth and innovation, they just need one person who understands how their own brain works to have the courage to stand up and be a witness to what they see. Just one. And that one person, that could absolutely be you.